Ladies and gentlemen, children of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy, strong style nerd, strong style cinephile, still feeling a little bit under the weather, but still jacked. Talked about Crisis, Part 2, Crisis on Infinite Earths. So let us geek about that for a scant few minutes. Now, this episode took place on Batwoman, so there's a little bit Bat-centricness to the plot and what was going on. Now, the episode opened with a trio of our heroes, Kara, Kate, and Sarah, pouring one out for Oliver, who of course lost his life. Tail end of part 1. Now, we all expected Oliver to die, but it was sort of a gut punch to see him get taken out that early. And I was reading what some of the execs were talking about, and they said that, of course, they let that cat out of the bag. We all knew Oliver was going to die, so they were like, what surprise is left? The surprise is left is when he dies. And him going out when he did kind of threw everything off. And of course, the Monitor says it threw him off. He did not foresee Oliver dying that quick, so that presents an issue. So like I said, this episode opened with them kind of trying to move on from it, and then getting a sort of an update from the Monitor on what their next mission is. It involves finding the Paragons. There's 7 Paragons. They're supposed to be the ones that can get together, stop the crisis. So Kara is one of the Paragons of hope, which she's not feeling very hopeful at the moment, considering all that's happened with Earth 38 dying, Argo City getting wiped out of existence, and of course Oliver biting the big one. So she's not feeling very hopeful, but she's a Paragon. Sarah's the Paragon of Destiny, which found kind of interesting. Of course, Sara Lance is destined to be the one true canary of the Arrowverse, at least in my opinion. Love Katie lots, love Sara Lance, loved whoever had the idea to, on Arrow to bring Sarah back and put her on Leanne Yu and all the kind of stuff that she went through and everything. They deserve a raise, like all the raises, forever, because it was just awesome and amazing to do. Of course, as they're getting this update, we got a little bit of the Legends kind of style humor, where the Monitor is making sort of his big passion speech to a gathering of heroes, and Clark and Lois and Clark's baby's crying, so like Lois hands the baby to Clark, who hands it, just on down the line until it's like there's Kate, and then there's Mick, and then Kate's like, nope, and then Mick, they hand it to Mick, and of course, Mick, Mick Roy would be the baby whisperer and able to quiet the baby, and is left, the baby's left in Mick's care, which, if you know Heatwave from all these seasons and stuff, that's kind of funny, the situations that they've managed to put that character. We really don't have him do much anymore. They just have him in just situations that kind of make him into a joke. But I mean, it is what it is. He's kind of served his purpose early on in his appearances, being an enemy of the Flash. Now he's just kind of, that's his niche, just being, funny old Mick Rory doing some stuff. So, and of course, their ship that they're on is from the Legends of Earth 74, which have all retired except for Mick. Mick took the ship, and the Gideon on this Earth is Leonard Snart. So for them to get Wentworth Miller back to be the voice of Snart for that was just funny. And his banter back and forth with Mick was hilarious as well. They needed the ship just because they needed the lab. When the Wave Riders first brought up, Sarah said she promised the other Legends that they could sit out the crossover, which is so funny how meta they are with the crossovers. And then Harbinger was like, well, there's a whole universe of Wave Riders, so they just go to a different one. Like I said, they retired, Mick has the ship, they're now using it. The Monitor also remade the Book of Destiny. He said that when Oliver got taken out as early as he did, he remade the Book of Destiny and has it on the ship. Kara wants to use it to bring back Earth 38. The Monitor says his power is waning, so he can't really exactly do that. That idea of bringing Earth 38 back is not far from Kara's mind, as we find out as things go. Like I said, they start off on these missions to find the Paragons. Lois, Clark, and Iris go off looking for the Kryptonian who has lost more than any mortal man can bear. So they go looking for the Kryptonians. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor schemes and does steal the Book of Destiny and then makes off with it, which of course is all part of Monitor's plan. As he relays to Harbinger. Luthor is jumping from planet to planet, Earth to Earth, killing Superman. The first Earth that Lois and Clark show up at, Luthor's already been there, killed Superman, and dipped out to go to like a different one. The next planet, Earth, that they go to is Smallville Earth, with the returning Tom Welling and Erica Durance, who plays Supergirl's mom in the first part, but she was also, of course, before that, Lois on Smallville. So all the Smallville fans, I'm sure, were rejoicing and just crying happy tears at seeing Tom Welling again. I was never a big Smallville fan. I watched it for the first couple seasons. I just didn't like their take on Clark. It was way before a time. There's no tights, no flights, that rule or whatever. And I wonder if Smallville was made now. We're totally embracing the idea of comic book heroes and superhero TV and stuff like that. What would it have been like? Would we actually see Tom Welling suit up as Superman, the full-on suit, not just CG looking stuff they do in the very last episode of the series? Before that, he's got the jacket stuff that he does, and he's called the Blur and all that just dumb stuff. I just didn't watch. I tuned back in for some of the larger cameos when they did the Justice League, the Proto Justice League episode, and then some other times when like Alan Richardson, when he came in as Aquaman, I popped in for that episode and that sort of thing. Other than that, the show didn't really interest me, so I didn't really care that they got Tom Welling back. I think it's cool just from a crossover and just from a crossover standpoint. I think it's cool, and just from a history standpoint that they're touching on history of the shows. So Lex shows up to kill him. Lex brings out some kryptonite, doesn't do anything because Superman gave up his powers. And at that moment, you can kind of see the thrill of killing him just totally leaves Lex. So he's like, enjoy your mediocrity, your world is doomed, kick rocks. And then he leaves. And then Lois comes up, and they go to play with the children. Because Clark tells Lex that no power is worth more than his children. Which, as a parent, I can feel that as well. So it was interesting that Luthor was just defeated that easily. Because he just lost the thrill of it. On the Earth, with the Kingdom Come looking Superman, it's a mix of kind of the Donnerverse as well as Kingdom Come. Because, as we've seen, it's Brandon Routh, who of course was Superman in Superman Returns, that god-awful Superman movie. He was a good Superman, just was in a crappy Superman movie. So he got to play Superman again. On this Earth, Joker gassed the Daily Planet, killed everybody. Killed Lois and a whole bunch of other people, and then that's what put Clark in isolation in the Kingdom Come comics. So they pulled that part from it, but they also pulled some Donnerverse elements from it, because as they're talking to this Clark, he's like cool, he's ready to go help. He switches into a super suit, which looks like the Kingdom Come Superman, and they're about to go. Then Lex shows up and decides to use the Book of Destiny to turn this Superman evil to fight Earth 38 Superman, which is, of course, it's a crossover. In crossovers in comics, a lot, we have the heroes fight for a while. We've had it in a couple of these crossovers over the years for the heroes that fought each other. So, of course, we have two Supermen. Why not make them fight? They start fighting. The ladies knock out Luthor, get a hold of the book, and use it to get through to Clark. And make him realize how important truth is in his life. Helps him overcome the brainwashing, which of course we knew it wasn't going to last. And then he's back on their side. And then he talks about fighting himself in the past, which of course in Superman 4, I think it was, where he fought himself. So some people are speculating that this was the Donnerverse, older Donnerverse Superman. Some people are saying Kingdom Come Superman. So it's like they kind of like melded those two Supermen together. It's an interesting scene. Brandon Routh as Superman. I'm totally for it. I'm glad we're going to see more with the Kingdom Come Superman. Of course, we got a few jokes with the fact that he looks like Ray Palmer. One wrinkle to things is Kate and Kara going to the future Earth to find the future Bat, is what they're told by the Monitor, the Paragon of Courage. They think it's going to be Bruce Wayne, who's Batman. They find out that this Bruce Wayne is essentially just an evil douchebag. He started off, he had a code, and he stuck to. I guess he saw that it wasn't working. What he was doing was not doing enough. It's almost like the argument that Daredevil had with Frank Castle, where Castle was like saying, you don't, like, you're a half measure. You don't have what it takes to end the threat. Like, you lock them up, they get out. I put them down, they stay down. And I think in this future, this Batman feels the same way. That what his old methods just weren't doing it anymore. So he just killed one, and then things started to snowball. And we find out he was actually responsible for killing Clark Kent. Clark Kent put him in the exoskeleton that he wears, and he ended up killing, that Earth Superman. Trippy C, and he ends up trying to kill Kara, which Kate intervenes and stops him and ends up electrocuting him, essentially killing that Earth's Batman. But it was interesting, of course, for Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy back. Kevin Conroy is like the voice of Batman for a generation. Of course, whenever I read comics with Batman in them, I just hear Kevin Conroy's voice, just from Batman the Animated Series and then multiple other animated efforts from DC. It's just Conroy. Why not? Why? Because it's just Conroy. Because Conroy is the voice of Batman. So just seeing him on screen and hearing just Batman, it was awesome. And just seeing kind of how far he's fallen in this future, and just kind of see Kate kind of mortified by the idea of Bruce falling off, so much, becoming this this dark, depressed, untrustworthy killer. Something I'm sure she doesn't want to be, so doesn't want to grow to be. But we find out she swiped the kryptonite that Batman was using when he attempted to kill Kara. I wonder if the next episode, because we see in the promo for the next episode, there's a shot of it in her hand. So I'm wondering if it's going to come up that Kate has the kryptonite. Now, of course, we all know with the relationship between Batman and Superman that Superman allows Batman to have kryptonite in case Superman ever goes rogue. The only person he trusts with it is Bat. So I'm wondering if it's going to come to that agreement between Kara and Kate, where Kara is going to trust Kate with kryptonite to hold on to in case Kara ever goes rogue. And then, like I said, Bruce is dead. They go back to Wave Rider, and Kate's like, "Hey, you were wrong, bro." Tells the Monitor he was wrong, and the Monitor says, "No, I told you the path would lead you to the Paragon of Courage, and that the Paragon of Courage was already on the ship, and that Paragon of Courage was Kate," which is kind of a lot for Kate to take in, because of course she's new to being a vigilante. Now she's dealing with aliens and other worlds and multiverse and just crises and that sort of thing. She's all new to it, so it's a lot for her to take, which leads to her and Kara having heart-to-heart. Again, always heart-to-hearts in these crossovers. There's always like little pockets where they have like little scenes with just one-on-one actors having their little like moments. They have like the big group shots with like 4 or 5 and more people, and then they always have multiple like two-person scenes, which again I'm assuming is written in kind of that way to account for people's schedules, actor schedules and stuff like that, because they're juggling so many things when they're making these crossover episodes. So I think that's one way that they're taking care of business and moving the plot along, and they just write those in where they have just 2-person little scenes. So it is what it is. It's kind of formulaic, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, the other big mission of the episode, Mia has determined, along with Barry, that they're going to use the Lazarus Pit to bring Oliver back. Now, of course, all the Lazarus Pits on Earth 1 have been destroyed. Multiple Earths, even though they're getting wiped out left and right pretty quick. They use Constantine to find another Earth that has a working Lazarus Pit to bring Oliver back. Now, of course, Sarah knows the pitfalls of doing such a thing and tries to tell Mia that the person comes back, but not with their soul intact. Mia's like, "Kick rocks, I'm going to do it anyway." So they go to this Lazarus Pit, encounter a pre-scarred Jonah Hex, and then drop Oliver in the water. Oliver comes back out, of course, monster, soulless. They knock him out, then go through the setup for the ceremony that's going to have them go inside Oliver and recover his soul. Same thing they did with Sarah way back on Arrow. But turns out all the multiverse stuff going on is messing with Constantine's mojo, so his magic is in flux, so he can't recover Oliver's soul. So they're kind of SOL at that point, and that's pretty much where the plot ends for that episode, for this particular thing. So back on the ship, Lila is hearing things and being affected by the voice of something that calls her away, and you see this silhouette on the hallway of a large suit, tubes and stuff, and of course we've seen the concept art of the Anti-Monitor. Turns out that's who was in her head. It was the Anti-Monitor who tells her that there's work to be done. Now, most people are speculating that what's going to happen is Lila, who's secretly working for a double agent for the Anti-Monitor, is going to end up killing the Monitor. So we'll see how that plays out in the next episode. That was pretty much, kind of jumped around a little bit, but that was just the gist of the second part of it. And it was just interesting because we had so many episodes of Arrow with Oliver fighting against his fate, refusing to accept that he's going to die in the crisis. Then he finally accepts it, he's fine with it. And then Diggle was fighting against it, he was fine with it, accepted it. And then it happens, and then we find other characters not fine with it. Like Mia's not okay with it. Barry doesn't accept it. He thinks he just needs to die, which I don't know why. Barry's Barry, so he would rather sacrifice himself for the sake of other people. So Barry's wanting Oliver to not be the one that sacrifices himself, not be the one that loses his life in the crisis. I just thought it was interesting that for the longest time Oliver's fighting against it, he accepted it, and then there are other people in their circle that did not accept it and are railing against fate and what has happened to Oliver and try to bring him back. So I'm sure a soulless Oliver is going to create some complications going forth in the third and fourth part. I'm sure Oliver will be in his right mind come part 5, maybe even part 4. It was a fun episode. It was just continuing, it gave us some cool fan service, it gave us some fun moments, it gave us a little bit of action, and it just raised the stakes of the crisis going forth. And now we actually have seen the Anti-Monitor for ourselves. Hopefully he'll play a big part in part 3, and then we'll see probably the Monitor end up getting killed, and then we'll see what happens and how they can stop the crisis from that point. I anticipate at the end of part 3, the big cliffhanger ending will be Barry sacrificing himself in some form or fashion. I don't know if it's going to be where he runs and just runs himself out of existence like it kind of was in the graphic novel, or if they'll do some kind of different spin on it. But it'll be cool just to see what happens as it goes forth in the third part of Crisis on Infinite Earth. A lot of cool stuff has happened, a lot of cool stuff is yet to come. I'm here for all of it, man. Hope you guys are too. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Follow me on social media. Talk to me there. Talk to me here. Yeah, text, type to me. Because this whole trying to speak thing with my voice right now is killing me. Killing me. But still, we got to talk about it because it's awesome. It's monumental stuff going on. So, like I said, I'm here for it all. Meantime, until tomorrow, in the third part, and the cliffhanger episode, let us geek.